With the 3 DevQuest events that have happened this year so far, I believe I should start a video essay on what Roblox can do to improve them. Here are things which Roblox should do to improve dev hunts. Number 1. Add less games. When it came to events, Roblox seemed to have chose quantity over quality. This was an issue which the hunt had. It had 100 games, which was problematic because it made the event quite exhausting, especially since how most of the quests were horrible. This issue was something which the Classic had solved by having only 15 games. Roblox, however, went back with this issue in the games by having 50 games, followed by a laggy mess in my part. I believe this is an issue which not only do I have, but many other Roblox players have. Hence, why this issue is the first issue I bring up. I believe such issue is easy to solve by adding less games depending on the time span. As such, I would like to bring up that the Hunt had 100 games for 15 days, the Classic had 15 games for 5 days, and the games had 50 games for 10 days. This meant that the rate of completion would be from 6.66 games per day to 3 games per day, and then to 5 games per day. The jump from 3 to 5 games per day may seem like it isn't bad, but if you were to play the game quests, then you'd find it's the worst one to complete, simply for many of the games having insufferable quests. Though I had to deal with a broken badge in one game and a laggy mess in my part additionally. I believe that players should have enough time to complete all the games before the event ends. This is why I like the Classic, because you didn't have to do an ass load of games to 100% it. I disliked the games because it was a pain to 100%, to the point I was unsuccessful in 100%ing it, with personal issues I've already mentioned in my part. Obviously, 100%ing an event is optional, but I believe they should be more worth doing. 100%ing a game should be less of a chore and much more rewarding. Number 2. Pick better games. While this may sound subjective, I believe this is an issue that should be solved, especially given the fact that many of the games in the hunt were terrible simulators with terrible quests that weren't fun at all. For example, Pet Simulator 99, Pull a Sword, and Lumberjack Simulator. There were other games that made the event aggravating. This issue was also the case for Horse Race Simulator and Race Clicker in the games. I believe this is my main problem with the Classic, given that the event was let down by half the games in the event, as well as the games too. For example, Blade Ball. It didn't really have a great quest, and the tickets were a pain to get due to how RNG based they were, as they would spawn in maps you had to hope they would appear in the voting board for. This was also the case for the shines in the games. The fact that Blade Ball pulls shitty quests in all 3 events proves that it doesn't deserve to be in any dev hunts. The Kraken boss fight in the games show that Blade Ball had potential, however. I'd also say the same for other games in the Classic. I also have an issue with games that make quests long and tedious just to keep the players in and keep grinding, profiting off of them, which is what Driving Empire and Dragon Adventures did. Make a repetitive quest and make a game pass to profit off of the solution. Quite a scummy move. Driving Empire pulled the same shit in their games, by the way. I also have an issue with how Sonar Studios handles dev hunts. I personally think they did fine with the hunt, but they downgraded with the Classic and the games. Not to mention that Sonar's games can't really be played in a low-end device, but I'll bring them to another point. Especially with how they dealt with the collectibles, the text and the shines in the 2 events respectively. Their locations were quite randomized, especially for dragon adventures in the classic and horse life in the games, where the locations were outright random as hell. There could be more to say, but I can't be bothered to say them. But I can say that these all bring me to my next point. Also, I'd like to add that I don't really like the fact that Dress to Impress was included in all three of the events. I cringe at being within those games, but I have to accept that they are included there to attract the female demographics into the event, although the side effect of the boys playing DTI with one hand. In general, fashion games aren't really my thing. Number 3. Monitor what quests games offer. I believe games offering terrible quests is a problem with dev hunts, which all three events so far have suffered from. This was the case for most of the games in the hunt, given that most of them were simulators where you hardly do anything but grinding and grinding. I believe Roblox should take consideration into what quests the developers plan for their players. Are they fun? Are they manageable? Are they beginner friendly? Do they offer something new to their game for the event? I think the quests should not be too easy or too hard, and that the quests should not be in a way where it's going to be a hassle for beginners. In addition, they should be fun and enjoyable, not so grindy and tedious. Not the type of quest where you do the same shit all over again. This was a problem with half of the games in the classic, by the way. So basically, Roblox should consider what quests the developers of the games offer. Dev hunts would greatly benefit from that. This is what the classic was let down by. The greatest dev hunt this year, but half the games were absolutely shitty. The games had problems with its sports themed games simply just being to play the game. Arsenal is exactly what games in the dev hunts should be like. Fun and enjoyable, not too easy and not too hard, and offers something new to the game for the event. Number 4. Avoid picking games that can barely be played in low-end devices. One of the reasons for why Roblox is popular is for the fact that it could be played in mobiles and tablets. To add high-quality games in the event kind of defeats the purpose of the compatibility. I remember I had to go to holiday midway through the classic and had to play the rest of the event on an iPad. I was struggling with Dragon Adventures due to me playing the 5th quest in a device with a low memory, meaning that I wouldn't really last long in the game. I had to get the ticks and token eggs before the game crashed for me. So basically, pick the games that are suited for those with a computer, a console, a mobile, and a tablet. That way we wouldn't deal with compatibility and availability issues. Number 5. Offer better prizes with better requirements. If Roblox wants to attract their players with quest events, they should offer good prizes which are worth earning for. For instance, the hunt offered good accessories, but the gaps between the requirements of the number of badges kind of ruined the worth of getting them. Imagine having to collect 20 badges for each item. I personally think that kind of requirement ruined the want for the item. The classic accessories were much more worth getting due to how less grindy they were to get, in addition to looking peak. Possibly to do with the fact that there were less games to begin with, in addition to the quests within the hub, which made the classic prove that Roblox has the potential to host a decent event, if not a great one. I do have a problem with Roblox not offering anything after that fight against 1x1x1x1, even if it was a shitty boss fight. At least give us a badge. The game's accessories, while they were quite easy to get, they were quite unappealing due to them mostly being layered clothing, which many players, including me, don't really like. Number 6. Host events in better times with better time span. When it came to the hunt, Roblox hosted it at the best time with the best time span. It was hosted during Easter, which could be seen as something similar to Egg Hunt. The time span was also great since it was 2 weeks, which was kind of enough to complete the event. The classic, while it was the best dev hunt in my opinion, happened at the worst time with the worst time span. It was happening while students were having exams. They aren't going to drop their revision just to play a virtual game event that's only up for 5 days. On a more personal note, I struggled with the games due to me not being on alert on when it would begin due to the hype being very low. I ceased everything just to take part in the event, and I can safely say I hated it. The games gave you 50 games to do in 10 days, which is less than enough time to do them, especially given how much lag I had to personally go through. Basically, make it so that players don't feel the need to rush through the quests and give them more time. In conclusion, I'd like to say that Roblox does have the potential of hosting the greatest dev hunt ever if they do plan on it. This was a video essay to describe what Roblox should fix. I hope the next time Roblox does host a dev hunt, all these issues I've pointed out get sorted out. Number 7. Add seals.